Hello. Good morning to you.
Hey man, what's up there?
Well, I was sitting there and I was thinking about our last conversation, and I had a few observations I was going to throw at you. You got time to listen to it?
Yeah, man, go ahead.
Well, I'll tell you this. The first thing that I thought about is that the other day we were discussing a hiker. Of course, I've been guilty of calling this person a hiker hunter type person for a while. When we're talking about the bridge guy from the Delphi double murders of Libby and Abby in Delphi, Indiana. And anyway, I was thinking about something, and I really thought about it after we got off the phone and discussed it. And what I was thinking about is what this guy, Vance Rodriguez, this mostly harmless, this Ben Bellamy, those are the three names I referred to in the previous cast. But I forgot his first name, and his first trail name, and a lot of these thru hikers develop these trail names and such. But the name that I forgot made me think of something very important, at least in my mind, about our bridge guy. And of course, you and I kind of talked about this off channel, but what made me think about it is that at the very first of the trail, Vance Rodriguez, who just set down all of his stuff somewhere there in New York, and he went to the trailhead and just started hanging around. He left his wallet, his ID. He carried money, but he left his ID and such there in his apartment, and he went off and just started walking down the trails. And of course, his first nickname was Denim. And the weird thing about this is that, the reason why they called him Denim is because most of the other people that were hiking the AT, that is the Appalachian Trail, they all had on that dry type clothing, the clothing that dries real quick. It's some kind of a synthetic thing. If you're going to be walking 2,300 miles, the length of the AT, but then you need, you're going to get wet, you're going to get dry, you need to be able to do both of those very quick. Specifically,
you need that dry lock hunting stuff that's going to get moisture away from your skin.
That's dry lock. That's what I was thinking of. Well, anyway, so but they quit calling him that and started calling him mostly harmless right after that, because he got smart real quick and got rid of those denim clothing. And of course, he may have bought it somewhere. He may have got it at a shelter of some sort. Who knows? But anyway, he wound up getting him some more trail appropriate clothing. But our bridge guy here, everybody would say, well, his pants just don't look like they fit him right. They're just way too long and blah, 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 blah. Whatever's wrong with them. And I was thinking to myself, that's it. It's one explanation, even though I don't know how valid it is. But it could be true that this guy, he'd been wearing these dry lock type clothing, as you referred to it, and, out there on the trail, but, or just moving around, and it got real cold there just a few days before and was snowing there in Delphi, Indiana. And he wound up, this is my theory now, he wound up just going to the local shelter or the place that gives out clothes and such, and he found some pants that fit him in the waist, but they didn't fit him in the length. And that's my theory as to why he's wearing these clothes that are so big for him. I mean, it's kind of obscure, but it's just a thought.
Right, and I can understand. Yeah, and I can see where you come from. I mean, I don't know, have they done any investigations to any of the homeless shelters or anything of that nature to see if they had any recent people passing through? And then, it may not be in that town, because I don't know if that town actually has a homeless shelter, but maybe one of the bigger towns close to it. I don't know if they've done any investigating like that.
I don't know that they have, but now I do know that there's some of the girls' parents, I don't know which family it is, but one of them actually are operating a shelter, or I don't know what those things are called, like a Salvation type army. It's like they collect stuff and give it to people that need it. I don't know what those places are called. Do you know what they're called?
Well, like, yeah, it'd be like, like the shelter workshop near our place or the Salvation Army. I mean, it's people in need, homeless, not necessarily a homeless shelter that they can stay at, but, come, get some clothes, maybe a bowl of soup, like a soup kitchen, or, that kind of thing is, I'm assuming, what you're referring to.
That's what I'm thinking of. That's what I was thinking of, something along those lines. And, of course, 15 miles away is Lafayette, Indiana. And that's a larger town. I mean, really, if you look at where Delphi is at, it's like kind of like a suburbial Lafayette. I guess you could call it. It's kind of like, like little Benton or something that's right outside of Little Rock. It's just a few miles out, although this is to the north just a little bit.
Right.
But anyway,
yeah.
so I just thought that was weird. It just popped in my mind. Denim, and he was wearing those denim jeans that were just too big for him. Like, I wonder if they did look around there at some of those other places, either in Delphi or in, over, in Lafayette or other places around there. Who knows about what's going on.
It'd be interesting to know if they did some looking. I mean, I just think since they didn't get, any other, they might want to try to chase some of that vinegar, vagrant type stuff. I mean, because I know you mentioned a couple under the bridge and, some other stuff. So, if it was an area that had vagrants, fairly reasonable, fairly regularly, I would assume maybe they had looked into it. But, I've never read anything about where they talked about anything like that.
I mean, initially the flyers that released first were saying he was a hiker of some sort, but of course they had the wrong picture there too. And I've got some other things I want to throw at you too, and whoever else is listening, because right now I am on an interstate highway myself. I'm driving around 70 miles per hour. Okay, so number one was the clothes. The hiker recently taken off those clothes or put some other clothes on top of it. This number two thing is I want to throw it out there because, like, right now, if you were to hear my voice on this telephone, and it's on a recorded line, and of course we've talked about some of the things that go along with this particular recorded line, and it's that, it records whomever I'm speaking with better than it records me, whomever the person that's doing the recording. And I was sitting there thinking to myself, it's like, so there's two or three things. Number one, we see this video of Bridge Guy, and we know that perhaps at first the video, the way that it was, the way they had released it, it made him look shorter and kind of stockier. And then in a later revision of it, they made him taller and skinnier looking, just by shaping the video a little bit different, And, maybe it got messed up at first. Maybe he really is shorter. We don't really know. Okay? So.
Right, yeah. So it's hard to tell from the video.
And and people have gone through and people said, well, he was so many height and this was so height and this, that, and the other. Of course, to me, he looks taller, but that's just me. But anyway, so we have the video and we don't really know what he looks like. But also, I mean, there's, it comes into focus there at the end. That's one of the things I've been talking about recently is that, Libby, they said she was brave. And I really started thinking about this last night. I'm like, damn, she was brave. And she did get a little bit of the video of this dude. It's like, if you go look at that, of course, we've talked about the other day, she got less than 1 second of a video of this guy. Because an iPhone records around around 60 frames per second, and she has 47 frames of this guy, and a lot of them are blurry. But at the very end, there on frames 44 through about 47, it comes in a little bit better. You can actually see a quote unquote young Bridge Guy or YBG. But anyway, so. But we kind of did see that little brave part at the end. Well, so we do kind of have a little bit of a glimpse of what his face looks like. Okay, so we did get that, even though we don't really know what his body is shaped like because of the alterations to the video. Now, I'm trying to get to my point.
At least you get an idea of, if you was familiar with the guy in any shape, form, or fashion, hopefully that would trigger something. But at least you got a general idea, you can guesstimate he's close to 6 foot, you know, and, you know, you can get a few generalities, but you're right. Now, those last few frames give you the best look at actual look at the person's face.
Well, and that's the point where, you know, you and I have been talking about, is that if you really knew this guy, you'd recognize that. And the point of this whole long conversation here is that I think his voice is the same way. Because the point that I'm trying to make is that if all of you knew of me was talking on this podcast, on this telephone, while I'm driving down the interstate at 70 miles per hour, and you listen to my voice, and then you came across me in real life, you wouldn't know that this is me, because I really don't speak like this normally. I speak lower and I speak quieter because I'm just that kind of person. I'm not, well, I'm you know, I'm driving down the road, I'm much more excited, I'm much more keyed up. It's Friday, you know, and like that other video that we recorded a couple of days ago, I sure was keyed up. But now, if you knew me intimately, if you had video of me and you spent time on the phone with me, you could identify me if I was Bridge Guy, because you'd go, yeah, that's Brad. I know the way Brad walks. I've been around him. I've had videos of him. I've listened to his voice on the telephone and in real life, and I know that's who that is. And I really think that's what, you know, you and I were talking about. That's really what the police are looking for. They need somebody that knows this guy intimately. My fear,
right? Yeah,
is that
maybe been in the room with him, you know, worked with him a little bit. If it's a blue collar guy, you know, I mean, if it's a hitchhiker guy, you'd probably have a harder time of it. But somebody over on one of the coasts or somewhere in the middle, oh yeah, I remember this guy. So yeah, no, you're right. You know, that's the way that goes.
Well, let's just say that the hitchhiker did know him from 5 or 6 years ago, and then of course they would have to have him on video too. I mean, they would have to and be around it, because, like, I was thinking about this. If the people that I work with inside of an office type setting, we come into a conference room and we speak, you know, a few hours a week, you know, a month, whatever, and they hear me in a carpeted room or whatever, they're probably not going to recognize me. You know, it's like we were talking about the other day, like if someone has on safety glasses and a hard hat and, you know, all those type construction type stuff, and you see somebody, I don't immediately recognize somebody. Hell, we even noticed this with people wearing these masks for the past couple of years during this COVID stuff. You got a mask on, I really can't recognize you as well, you know? So
no, you sit there and you look at somebody, you stare at them, you look away, I don't want to be staring, you go, but I think I know them, you stare some more. Yeah. That happened with a friend of ours the other day. I saw her sitting up in front of the discount mart up there in town, and I could see her across there. She was talking to somebody, and I could see her, and I looked at her, and I thought, oh, no, I know that girl. You know, and I walked and walked, and then, of course, I finally got close enough that she said hi. Well, then, of course, the small clues that I was seeing that wasn't triggering something, the combination of the clues and the voice went, oh, I know, oh, God, I ain't seen you, you know, so, yeah, it is that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, that just really, it just kind of, you know, stood out at me, you know, these couple of things there. So, you know, really people need to be keeping that in mind. If you're from that area, if, you know, wherever you at, and I tell you, this is one of those cases. I was listening to these other guys just then, and I cannot think of the name. We've listened to so many ones back and forth, but I was listening to some guys just then, and they had some of the same theories that we had about this guy, that he was obviously, or more than likely, kind of blue collar. He had some kind of a hunting thing going on, and he was very visual. I mean, these people are, you know, they may talk and speak, you know, and may be good at it, but they're more than likely, their predominant is visuality, visual acuity. That is, they're very visual thinkers. They're very visual type people. It's different, you know. I don't know. I mean, it just, I don't know really what that means, but I think it's that they get off on visual type things. Maybe porn even. I don't know. What do you think?
The power of observation. You know, hey,
yeah.
Let's remember where we're at. I need to go for a minute, and we can pick back up. Let's kind of remember where we're at there.
Well, no, I think we're kind of done with this. I kind of got to run, too. I'm about to go into a no-talk zone. This is going to be kind of a quick one. But it's
okay, it's fine. But yeah, I agree with you in terms of the power of the observation. So some people are just more observationally intuitive about it. You know, they can pay attention to small things better than some can, you know. And the same thing with sound. So maybe they're just more geared that way, you know. But all right, buddy. Well, hey, holler back at you later, and if we want to maybe pick up one later tonight or tomorrow or something, we can.
That sounds great. Hey, I appreciate you spending time with me. Thank you, sir. Goodbye.
All right, brother. Take you later.